Because it was here that we found that when we talk about things Hawaiian, it meant more than something economic or something political. It was something spiritual, it was special. And the pain of Kaho'olawe made the foundation for us to stand once again and to reaffirm our nationhood. Aloha ku'umoku o Kaho'olawe, Maikinohi ko inoa o Kanaloa, kohe malama au kanaka ole, hiki mai.
Maula hele ohi a pau. Oki pau po he mo ka kupu pau paki pau holo in hoi kana lepo kawele
I believe in what I do. You know, I think that if you're doing something in the dark and you're just doing it out of passion and love for it, you believe in the future. You're creating it. I've been lucky enough to create my career.
For her steadfast commitment to documenting and preserving Hawaii stories on film and video, the Historic Hawaii Foundation is proud to honor Heather Haunani Giugni as the 2023 āina of the Year.
I think Heather is so successful in what she does because she has this curiosity and this love for humanity, and she wants to learn their stories.
She's dedicated her life to storytelling about our culture, about our people, throughout over a long career. I think that's amazing.
She's an innovator. She is heartfelt for her community, for her lahui, but mostly Heather has this uncanny ability to connect dots and to recognize the different strengths and weaknesses in people and bring them together for, the greater good.
She just constantly sees the big picture and is figuring out, what the landscape is and how do we present that landscape in the best possible way and in a way that galvanizes and inspires people to move forward or do something or at least tell that story that she told you to somebody else because it's important for people to know. She's really rare that way. We're lucky to have her.
I love movies. My mother owned an 8mm super camera and did documentation all the time. And she let me watch her edit and show me what she was doing. I didn't really attach myself to filmmaking until I went to KGMB. That's when I got to meet Bambi Weil. She was an inspiration for me. She was one of the first women doing hard news on the news. One of the things I noticed on the news channels, is that there weren't a whole lot of Hawaiians necessarily on camera at the time. And I just felt very strongly that, the only way you're going to make that happen is to create something to give everyone an opportunity to be seen more.
Ano ai, aloha. I'm Karen Keawe Hawaii, and welcome to Mauana Kaha'aheo, Enduring Pride, a diverse program celebrating Hawaii and the Hawaiian people.
Our first show that I helped provide funding for and she produced was Enduring Pride. There was no coincidence that that was the name of the show, that she would come out of the box with, if you would. I think she saw in her own experience, in her own love for the culture, virtue and positiveness and assets. She's really proud to be Hawaiian. And you see that in her body of work for her whole career.
I had learned a tool, learned how to use a camera and a microphone and an edit machine or system and tell that story of the underserved.
When Heather takes on a project, she wants everyone to benefit from it. You know, she wants the participants to get something from it, from telling their story. You know, it will be shared, it will be passed on, and we will all learn from it.
Heather is a political creature, and I say that in the nicest way possible, because she has always been about helping others.
That has to come from her just front row seat at some of the big public policy events of our time.
When my father got involved in politics, he got involved deep. And we were, you know, suddenly volunteering at a young age for everything that had to do with Senator Inouye. We arrived in Washington, D.C. when the Civil Rights Act hadn't even been written, okay? We arrived when interracial marriage was illegal. We just became politically involved in every way, shape, or form.
And her father, working side by side with Senator Inouye, was instrumental in what we think of as contemporary Hawaii in so many ways. So much of what she has done has been drawing upon that experience and that network and helping to build things. For example, Ulu'ulu. Ulu'ulu started because of congressional earmarks that were specifically in memory of her father. Senator Inouye came to Heather when he passed and asked her how would she like to memorialize her father. And she said that she had always had this goal of building this archive.
I think we're all natural spokes in the wheel. It's our duty as a community member to make our community a better place for everyone. And that was something that was sorely lacking.
We have the 10 Hawaiian cultural documentaries that I made with my husband, Eddie Kamai. But there's thousands of hours of footage that never got in the films, and there was no place for them to be shown. We had tried all the different museums and every place in Hawaii to find a home for our footage, and there was no place.
My whole involvement came when I got that congressional funding. I then partnered with Chris Lee, and I treated that as if we were on a short timeline. So within a couple of years, we already had legs.
She had meetings with all of us. She had our input. She wanted to save the work, the stories, the messages of Hawaii. Not only her work, but for all of Hawaii. And to make sure they were cataloged and digitized and online and accessible.
And our vaults today have 70,000 items. We have all the television stations. We have most of the local filmmakers. We have a lot of really interesting treasures where people have passed on, and the estates have given us these wonderful treasure troves of our history.
Our cinematic history is vast, but much of that has been lost. Much of that has been forgotten, and that is why this work is so important at Ulu'ulu.
The music, the history, the chanting, and all of the stories of Hawaii, they have a place now.
And it's not the stuff that you saw on Hawaii Five-0. You know, it's not the stuff that you saw in Blue Hawaii. It is the stuff, it is the world, it is the times that we all lived.
Ulu'ulu helps really provide us support for our mo'ukuauhau. When we start to forget pieces of it and people of it, we lose that connection. Ulu'ulu helps provide those roots to our families and to our children and to future generations. Gosh, we need that today.
You know, a lot of work has been done, but there's a ton of work ahead of us. I'm going to, as long as I'm around, tee that footage up for the future, because that will only empower us more as a community.
I tell you, Heather Giugni, I just, her belief in doing this and the tenacity and the vision it took to do this is so extraordinary. She just has to be one of my heroes.
E ka humea e lika maunei I pumehana I koko O salia wahi ki mai O salia wahi ki